All right. Thank you so much, Caroline. So what I want to do first, I believe I said my name, but I'm just going to introduce myself to all you folks. So my name is Elizabeth Milano. I am the Director of Graduate Student Services and Advising here at LaSalle. I've been here just over 5 years and have absolutely loved this journey. I got my master's in higher education administration from Suffolk. So, really committed to this field and always trying to learn more in it. I actually started my career in higher education as an admissions counselor and came to LaSalle as an enrollment counselor because that's what they're known as here for a variety of reasons. And then I moved into advising a few years ago. And what I most look forward to about working with all of you is these events like this. I absolutely love being able to see students face to face. And so that's why I said, please, if you have a question, we'll of course leave time at the end, but I really do love these events where I get to talk to you all. So please do not hesitate if something comes up to shout it out because this is my favorite part of doing what I do. So now I'm going to hand it off to the next person on my screen, Caroline, to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Caroline Lynch. I'm an assistant director for graduate student services and advising. I'm almost actually at my 2-year mark, which is kind of crazy. I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm local. My degree in higher ed was a master's of higher education administration from Boston University, where I worked before this, and I have a background in career services. And so one of the things that I really enjoy is, like Liz said, meeting with students, but I love talking to students about why they're here and what they're hoping to do, after they leave here, and helping them pick electives that kind of work towards that goal. But really, I love getting to do Zoom calls or in-person meetings if those do happen. But just working with the students is definitely the best part. And next on my screen is Amanda.
Thanks, Caroline. Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda Barba. I am also an assistant director of graduate student services and advising. I'm also local. I grew up in Massachusetts, and I also earned my master's of administration in higher education at Suffolk. So similar to Liz. And what I look forward to most about working with students is helping them problem solve. So, I love it when everything's working out and falling into place, but I also really love coming up with productive and mutually beneficial, solutions for students and helping, kind of being there for them during maybe stressful moments or anything like that. So never hesitate to reach out. If I'm your advisor, I'm always here to help. And I will pass it on to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Gaffney. I'm an Associate Director of Graduate Enrollment, and I have been here a little bit over 5 years too, just like Liz. I am from Watertown, New York, which is like an hour north of Syracuse. I graduated from Hartwick College many moons ago. I have a degree in psychology. What do I like the most? Basically everything about my job. I enjoy working with students. I enjoy, discussing classes, what they hope to achieve. And my 5 years here have probably been the best job that I've worked at.
Thank you so much, Mark. Mark and I started actually about 2 weeks apart from each other, and he is so good at what he does. So if any of you were fortunate enough to work with Mark, you are very lucky and you have a friend for life. So I forgot to say where I was from in my excitement to introduce my team. I'm also from Massachusetts, right outside of Boston, so I haven't gone too far. Caroline put this in the chat, but we would love to know more about you all. So if you wouldn't mind and you want to enter into the chat, just where you're from, what program you're in, and what you're most looking forward to, or maybe if there's something that you're nervous about or something that you feel like would be a challenge, feel free to put that in there too. So this, I've already introduced myself on this slide, but here are some other people on our team. I won't go through and name everybody just for the sake of not boring you all, but this is our amazing team. The thing that I think is really telling about LaSalle in kind of a challenging time is that we keep growing. You know, there are 2 people on the slide in front of me who just started literally last month. So I think that is kind of an indicator of a strong program and a strong school that we are adding to our team. Especially graduate student services, graduate programs are doing really well. So just one person in particular that I want to point out, Crystal Porter, she's our vice president for enrollment and marketing. So she is, you know, our leader. She's absolutely amazing. And then for all of your sake, I will also point out Tom Hurley. So he is the director of enrollment. So, you know, if you were working with Mark or Candace or Siobhan, and any of the time maybe they had a question, they would go to Tom, and he's the leader of that team. So this next team, enrollment, I kind of just referenced them. Mark Gaffney, who's here on the call with us, which is awesome. And then we also have Candace Obratzev. She's the Senior Associate Director of Graduate Enrollment, and Siobhan Coleman is the Assistant Director of Graduate Enrollment. That team is also growing. We have a new Assistant Director starting in just a few weeks. And, you know, she's looking forward to getting on board and working with all of you. So now we have the advising team. Caroline and Amanda have already, you know, introduced themselves to you, but we also have a third advisor, Centoya. And I'll just kind of go through the breakdown a little bit. Ladies, please tell me if I get something wrong here, because I didn't practice this, but Caroline advises sport management, MBA, rehab science, nutrition, and applied sports science analytics. Amanda advises education students who are coming in and don't have MTELs yet. She's also sort of an administrative advisor to all other education students. And she advises every other management program other than MBA. So project management, organizational leadership, human resources. I feel like I'm forgetting one. And then Centoya Simmons is the advisor for criminal justice and communication. And I just kind of wanted to reference something. So I mentioned earlier that Mark and Candace and Siobhan are called enrollment counselors. They're not called admission counselors. So the reason for that is that they are here to support you on, you know, your whole journey. But there is sort of this symbolic handoff from enrollment to advising that, you know, while Mark and Candace and Siobhan are not going away and are here for you, your advisors are kind of that new relationship for you, and we're kind of the first stop in assisting you from here on out. So the great thing for you is that you really have just one more person in your corner to help you throughout your time here at LaSalle.
Awesome. Thanks, Liz. So I also wanted to highlight, while we all have you here, that we have a Facebook group. Caroline Lynch put it together, and it's a really great resource for students, and it's growing. We have over 100 members. So if you would like to join the Facebook group, you can type in that link that you can see listed on the slide, but you could also try searching LaSalle University Graduate and Professional Studies Community Group. It's a private group, so you'll have to answer a few questions, and either myself, Caroline, Liz, Centoya, or some other staff at LaSalle, you know, we'll go through your answers and just verify that you are a student at LaSalle, and then we'll admit you into the group. And from there, you know, you can use it to ask any questions. You know, I know around commencement time last May, it was a really definitely an active group, you know, students asking different questions about what other students were doing in terms of commencement and things like that. So it's a really great way to get to know folks in the graduate program at LaSalle that maybe you don't have class with, or maybe you'll see a name of somebody that you do have class with and you will want to connect further from there. We also post, about upcoming events that we might have, different deadlines, things like that. So if Facebook is something that you're already using, in your daily life, it definitely doesn't hurt to join. It's a great networking tool, and we would love to have you as part of our Facebook group. And so similar to that means of communication, all the assistant directors at the advising side hold 2 different drop-in sessions every single month. So these are basically on a first come, first served basis, a virtual advising session that we'll host at our own discretion, whatever time the advisor wants. And students can come and join that and ask any question that they have. We know you're all super busy, so we don't want to assume that our office hour times are just like our schedule always works for you. So we try to host times during lunch breaks or maybe after hours, just, quick 30-minute, hour long, maybe. It's usually about 30 minutes, but a time frame where students can come, join, ask questions. And also that's another way you might be able to interact. You can see here, Caroline's going to be having hers on November 10th at 2 p.m. and then November 18th at 12:30 p.m. I'll be having mine on November 9th at 12 p.m. and November 16th at 5:30 p.m. And Centoya's out of the office today, so we're still working on getting hers, but I'm sure once she schedules those, she'll be happy to share them with her advisees. And we also usually do share that in the Facebook group as well. It's important to keep in mind that these are all Eastern Standard Time, because we're in Boston. And similarly, like I mentioned, you're all busy people. So we do like to hold workshops every month, kind of some programming for our students to, help build community, and also just offer some resources beyond our typical day-to-day resources. So this month we are doing a work-life balance as a graduate student with Karen Harrington from the Academic Achievement Center. That'll be on November 9th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I really encourage you all to go. I think work-life balance is something that everyone continues learning and mastering throughout their life. So, to work with, such a great staff member like Karen, you definitely learn more about how you can balance your work-life balance with schoolwork. Maybe if you have a full-time job, or maybe you're working more than one job, or whatever it might be, it's definitely a challenge. I know I challenge with balancing it all too. So this is definitely a really great event, and I hope that you'll all take advantage of it. Definitely mark that in your calendars.
And in regards to course formats, what can I expect? So what happens if in either September or January, it's a full semester hybrid. So if, when you're registering, you would see a main course, that's what that would be. So those are 16 weeks long, and they meet every other week. And what people, everyone on here is starting on the November 1st start, so you're in the 8-week online. So starting September, that was session 1, and then November 1st start is session 2. So these are 100% online, and they're 7 to 8 weeks long. And then also, we do a 2-week intensive that occurs in December to January. It's 2 weeks long, and it's fully online. And that is not for the faint of heart, shall we say.
So I can just talk a little bit about the academic calendar. So as Mark kind of referenced, it's a little bit, at least it was for me, a little bit confusing at first to kind of wrap my head around. So all of you are starting for an 8-week online session, but come January, you're going to see, so right now I'll just speak to that immediately. So the first day of session 2 is November 1st. The add drop deadline is usually 2 days after that. So the last day you have to add or drop a class for session 2 is November 3rd. One thing I do want to point out is that you have to drop a class before the first day in order to not have tuition liability. So even if you drop a class within the add drop deadline, tuition liability does kick in if the first day of class has, commenced. Then the course withdrawal deadline for fall main, so that really doesn't pertain to any of you, but it's something to keep in mind going forward if you're in a main class. That's usually around the middle of the 16-week semester. So it's November 12th. Then coming into December, the last day of class for fall main is December 13th. The last day for fall 2 is December 21st, and the first day of winter intercession is December 30th. So just to kind of explain in a nutshell, when January rolls around, we have a 16-week semester that's called the spring semester. It goes from January 18th to May something. I don't know off the top of my head. May 15th, 16th, somewhere around there. Within that 16-week semester, you have 2 completely online 8-week sessions, spring 1 and spring 2. That's the way every single session goes. Fall, spring, summer, there's a 16-week main, and then a session 1 and a session 2. Some programs, like for instance, criminal justice, other than your capstone, which is a 16-week course, all of your classes are always going to be 8-week online 100%. Some programs, like for instance, management, have both hybrid and online options. So say if you're a management student and you're in the online session right now, in January, if you're local and you can make it to campus one night every other week, you can take a hybrid class. You can do a mix and match. You don't have to, if your program offers more than one option, you don't have to take classes entirely in one format or the other. The other thing to keep in mind is it's always 6:30 to 9 classes meet on campus if you're taking a hybrid. All the work in between you do online. So you will have assignments due in between those on-campus dates. And you are told the on-campus meeting dates of your class in advance so that you can plan. If you're taking a 100% online course, you will be able to see in your syllabus, which should be open a week before class starts. So all of your syllabi should be open right now for fall 2. You should be able to see the due dates for all of your assignments. Professors do it different ways. Sometimes professors say everything's always due on a Tuesday. Other times they have varying due dates. It really depends on the professor, but we open the class a week before it starts so that you can get acclimated to the different due dates and you can plan it around your schedule, because most of our students do work. So we understand that this is not the only thing that you have in your life.
So this slide is one of my favorites just because it really shows how many resources you have available to you. A lot of times being an online student, it can kind of feel like you're on your own, it's just you, but that is not the case here. I know we've said it a bunch of times already, but every single one of us on this team is here to support you through your journey. And we do that with the help of all of these wonderful offices listed on this slide. There's the Academic Achievement Center, who we will be doing our workshop with. They also have free tutoring and free writing assistance available, as well as learning specialists who can meet to talk with you about time management or adjusting to grad school, or really just anything related to being successful in your academics. The library has a ton of online resources. They actually have a chat feature where you can chat with librarians and they can help you find resources. So again, even if you never set foot on campus, aside from maybe commencement, you still have access to all the same resources. Same with the Center for Career Readiness. They do resume and cover letter reviews, job interview prep, help with, networking emails and all those other kinds of things. So even if unrelated to school, you just happen to be in the middle of a job search, you can go get your resume looked at and do some practice interviews, which is always really great. And then the rest you have very likely talked to at this point. There's financial aid, student accounts, and the registrar's office. 3 fantastic offices full of fantastic people who are always ready and willing to help, and very good at explaining very difficult concepts. I know because I ask them all the time. And so then we just have a short video coming up of 3 of the main offices, just kind of explaining what they do and the resources that they have available.
A lot of what we do at the Academic Achievement Center, you know, with our individual tutoring or with our small group tutoring or study groups, we're fostering a welcoming culture of inquiry. You know, we want students to dig deeper. That's our academic culture here at LaSalle. And so there's always something that you can learn or push yourself even further to get to that next level. So our supports really are for all students. Like I said before, we meet students where they're at. Whether they need help with time management or organization, help with the learning process, brainstorming, outlining, you know, taking a look at drafts, helping them to edit their papers, or really digging deep into the bigger picture. You know, is there something else that they can do with their research to take it to that next level?
Hi everyone, my name is Jessie Orlando and I work in the Center for Career Readiness alongside Donnell Turner. Our offices are located in the Edwards Student Center on the top floor above Valentine Dining Hall. We're happy to help and support our graduate students in a number of ways, including exploring, identifying, and or refining your career paths and goals, developing a job search strategy, preparing for upcoming interviews, negotiating job offers, and enhancing your resume and cover letter. Additionally, we offer a variety of resources to assist you with the internship and full-time job search, including Handshake, which is the Career Center's innovative recruitment and career management platform for LaSalle University students and alumni. If you'd like to meet, you can email us directly or schedule an appointment using Starfish. Welcome to LaSalle. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Hi, I'm Anna Sarniso, the Library Director here at LaSalle University. Welcome to Brennan Library. We're here to help you with all of your research. If you'd like help, there's the 2 best options to reach us are going to lasalle.edu/library. That's our library website. You can find contact information, our research guides that we've already created for you, and Laser Search, our one-stop search of most of our resources. You can also email us at library@lasalle.edu, and any librarian who's available will answer that email to start helping you right away. Please contact us and visit our library website if you have any questions. We look forward to hearing from you. Welcome to LaSalle.
So after, you know, talking about the resources, the next big thing I really wanted to talk about are the 3 most important websites for success here at LaSalle. My LaSalle, SelfService, and Canvas. In a minute, Caroline's going to walk through some of the functions of SelfService, but just to give a broad overview. So My LaSalle is kind of the main place that you go to get everywhere. The website, which I can actually put right in the chat of how to get in there, do it right now, just in case people want to follow along. So over on the left-hand side, you'll see quick links. You can get to SelfService right from here. You can get to Office 365, which is your email. You can get to Canvas. So the big kind of 3 are right there. You can also get to Starfish, which is how you can make appointments with your advisor or other offices on campus. Another huge thing that I want to point out about My LaSalle before we walk through SelfService is in the academics tab up on the top on the left, you'll see a section called GPS course offerings. If you hover over that, that's where you can go to see the graduate course offerings for, you know, the next upcoming semester. So right now, for instance, winter spring registration opened last week. So I know you're just starting, but planning ahead, you can register now for the spring. There are also certain programs, and I'm sure your enrollment counselor has already talked to you about these, that fill very, very quickly. The classes always fill. So it is good to register early. The other thing on this page that I particularly wanted to point out is the graduate course rotation. So That lists every single course we offer at the graduate level and when it is offered. I just put that in the chat as well. Not every course is offered every session. So we kind of think of the typical time frame to do a program 2 years. If you want to complete your program in 2 years, this isn't as imperative to keep in the back of your mind. However, if you want to complete your program in a year, which is possible for most programs, not all, but for most, you really have to be cognizant of referencing this rotation because, for instance, if you miss a class that's offered spring 1 and you don't want to be here the following spring 1, then you're kind of in a bad spot. So if you're a person who wants to finish their program in a year, I really encourage you to not only familiarize yourself with this rotation, but also to reach out to your advisor to ask for assistance in creating a roadmap and also assistance when you go to pick courses for course selection. Let them know your goals and they can help you with courses based on that. And then the third thing before we move on, so there's MyLaSalle where you go to get to everywhere and see the course rotation and the schedule. There's SelfService, which Caroline will walk through in a second. And then there's Canvas, and that's where you actually go to do your actual course. Some of you have probably been in there already because classes did open today. But those are the 3 things you keep in mind. And if you remember nothing else, just bookmark MyLaSalle because you can get to all of these places from there. So now I'll hand it off to Caroline. Actually, I'll hand it off to Amanda. My fault.
No worries.
Sorry, the PowerPoint was freaking out a little bit. Technologies has not been on my side this Monday. It is Monday, yeah. So let me see.
I think it's all the rain. So I'm glad I didn't mess up, first of all. But I think for any of you who are local, it's absolutely pouring cats and dogs in the Boston area. I did see some out of state people in the chat. I believe I saw a Michigan.
And 2 Philly.
And a Philly. Yeah, Andy Smith originally from Michigan. Okay. But yeah, it is really poor weather here. And actually it was really poor weather our last orientation. So you know what they say, maybe it's rain on orientation brings good luck, but it does make it a little spotty with weather.
So as Liz was talking about, I'll just quickly kind of touch base the things Liz was explaining under the academics tab, GPS course offerings. That's what Liz was talking about. There's also, if you click graduate program, that brings you to our office's page that has links to just about everything you can need that's graduate student specific. And like Liz said, this gets you anywhere you need to go. Self-service is right on this quick links menu. Email -office 365, that's your LaSalle email. If you have not gotten into your email yet for some reason or another, I would do that like tonight because that is where all official communication goes. And then there's also a link to Canvas, the library, Starfish, which is how you can make appointments with your advisor and other offices on campus. So again, just it's your one-stop shop. If you have questions about it, just email your advisor. And then the other service that Liz was just talking about, which I'm going to have to log back into, is self-service. And likely you have already been in this to register for your classes. I won't go super in depth because I will show you some tutorial videos that we do have. But this is where you go for registration, access to your academic plan. So if you are a planner and you like to know what's going to happen ahead of time, that is going to be your best friend. And then there's also links to finances, financial aid, paying your bill, as well as search. And you can, look through course descriptions or course offerings, which can be really helpful just in general. And also if you have elective options to kind of figure out what you want to do. So that is a super brief overview of self-service. And I am going to turn things back to Amanda.
Thank you, Caroline. So as you all can see here, how am I going to remember all of this? We definitely just gave you all a lot of really important information and information I'm sure you want to remember. We told you all that to help make your lives easier as you complete your degree. But there is a course available on your Canvas dashboard with all this information and more. So it's always going to be up there. If you go onto your course your Canvas dashboard, you'll see it. I believe it's called the Grad School Guide. Caroline's going to go a little bit more into depth in it in just a minute, but like I mentioned, it's available 24/7 for the entire time you're here. So don't feel like you're going to lose access to it after your first session ends or anything, whether it's your first session here or your last. If you ever need to reference that, it will be available for you on Canvas as of now. So I definitely recommend bookmarking that, taking a look at it, and just, familiarizing yourself with all that information. But with that being said, I know Caroline wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about it.
Thank you. So this is our grad school guide course. If you were on your dashboard in Canvas, it's going to look a little different than mine. Everybody's looks a little different depending on what classes you're in. But you will see, just like any of your academic classes, this grad school guide, like Amanda said, it's available the whole time that you're here. It does have a few new student resources in it, but the majority of it is really useful for the whole time you're in grad school. So we have our homepage, and it's set up like a course that you will take throughout grad school. So it's set up in modules. And every single module is clearly labeled. There's readings for each module. Some of them have practice assignments. The biggest one I would say right now for all new students is this right here, Getting to Know LaSalle. We have a new student checklist, which goes through all of the things that you really should do before you get started, and that'll set you off on the right foot. More information about the advising team, contact information, and the website links for every single office that you might work with while you're here, which I use this office as a cheat sheet and a quick way to get to all this information all the time. This is what I was mentioning previously. We have tutorial videos. We have a bunch of them. We're always adding more onto our YouTube channel, so you can always access those about how to add classes, drop classes, figure out your student ID number if you need that, as well as a virtual campus tour if you just want to know what campus looks like. And a really important resource that comes with Canvas is tutor.com, which is a free tutoring service. I won't get too into detail now, definitely something to talk to your advisor about, but this resource right here explains what it is and how to use it. And then all of the modules below go through all different parts of Canvas, how to set up your profile, navigate, what things mean if you're not seeing a course, how to fix that, as well as, troubleshooting assignment issues, quizzes, discussions, I mean, really anything. There's videos that walk you through step by step. There's readings. And like I said, there's some practice assignments. So if you want to kind of test out a discussion post or submitting an assignment before you have to do the real thing next week, you can feel free to do that. They don't go anywhere. They're not graded. And also what is really important is right here, the Canvas student app. This explains every bit about it because it is a little different than the website. And there's also links to download the student app. So all of this stuff is available to you. One of the things that's on here that I have found very useful under communication tools is adding events and turning on your calendar, because you can actually link your Canvas calendar to your Gmail, your Outlook, your Yahoo, which puts your assignment due dates like right in your face on your main calendar that you use, which is really great. And so again, this is available to you the whole time, so I won't go too into depth, and I will turn things back over to Liz.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So in just a second, we'll open up the floor for any questions. In the meantime, I wanted to just let you know that on the Canvas course that Caroline was referencing, Caroline, correct me if I'm wrong, because Caroline just redesigned this entire course last week. it made it so much better. Caroline, are the YouTube tutorials on there?
Yeah, so the YouTube tutorials are in a
Great.
drop down on there under video tutorials. And then they're also on that grad programs page on my LaSalle. They're on our YouTube, so they're all over
Great.
the place.
Awesome. So I really just want to drive home the point that please do not feel like you need to remember all of this. As long as you remember where to go, it's all there. So Caroline has made awesome YouTube videos on things like how to find your academic plan, how to add and drop a class. They're, 2 to 3 minutes long, very user-friendly, super easy. So as long as you remember how to get there, you're going to be good to go. Coming into this orientation, we did spot check everybody's academic plan. So all of you should have an academic plan attached. Going forward, please reference that when you're trying to figure out what you need. The reason being, sometimes after you start a program, the curriculum may change, but it will change for current students. So if you're on the outward facing website where students are, the curriculum will change, but your curriculum that you were admitted with is not going to change. So it's really important to only be referencing your academic plan when you're trying to figure out what to take. Anything you've taken will have a green check mark. Anything you have in progress will have a little hourglass. And if you haven't, taken anything or started anything, it'll just be blank. When you go to your plan, this will make a lot more sense. The other thing to remember is unless you are an alum, if you're an alum, you're going to have at the bottom of your plan a list of classes that will say unassigned classes. And it'll be basically every class you took as an undergrad. If you are not an alum, you should not have a section at the bottom of your plan that says unassigned. If you do, that means that you registered for something that's not a part of your plan. So the plan doesn't know where to put it. So it's put down at the bottom in an unassigned section. So if you see that, that's a red flag that you're registered for something that you shouldn't be. That probably is not going to be an immediate problem because your enrollment counselor helped you get into your first class. But going forward, always reach out to an advisor if you're in doubt about what to take. But that's just something to consider going forward, is everything you register for should have a neat spot in your academic plan. So right now we have a link to a really short survey here. By short, I mean, it's like 3 questions. It will take you probably 30 seconds. It would be super helpful if you could fill that out just to let us know how this was for you. We're really trying to balance giving you the information with being really cognizant of your time. Please let us know how that was. If we missed anything, if you see any gaps in what we could have talked about, that would be super helpful. And that, brings us to the end of the things that we had scheduled to talk about. So I want to ask all of you, is there anything that was not clear or that we didn't go over or you just need further clarification on? Please feel free to just shout it out.